Um, well, the way to start, I thought you were going to, anyway, everything's about home. Talking about the Arise.
No, we'll go into that.
Happy, yes, and the budget. Actually, when you mentioned that we're going to talk about the report, particularly recorded by the Guardian newspapers, where they highlighted that the Akwa Ibom budgeted 1 billion for lawmakers, and then 250 million in capital budget for the health sector. They also went ahead to mention that another 90 million has been set aside for vehicles meant for staff handling, committee work, and sensitive duties with the Prado for the speaker, which will cost 78 million naira. And the agricultural and rural development, the capital expenditure for the State Second Education Board was put as stands at 100 million, while technical school received 200 million. Rural water supply and sanitation was allocated 100 million, despite the data from MBS that shows that 64% of households of the state lack access to clean water. And Akwa Ibom State Company Limited was allocated 80 million, raising concerns about access to potable water. According to MBS, it is said that multidimensional poverty index, that 70% of households of Akwa Ibom people lack access to sanitary facilities, and this comes at a time, like you rightly said, when cholera outbreak was recently recorded in the state, leading to loss of lives. I want to say that we have discussed part of this issue of budget some time ago, because I think that was in December. Open Forum was invited to be part of the budget appraisal by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, which we made our position known. In fact, we made a 13-page presentation, which we served the House of Assembly. We also served His Excellency, the Governor. I'm actually here with a copy of our position, because what we had was not a full breakdown of budgetary provisions as being done by Guardian. And that is to the effect that after the budget was passed, and I must say this, the budget was passed as was given. The total capital, we had, what do you call it now? 300 billion, and then 655 billion put together give us the total budget. One was for the capital expenditure, and then the recurrent, and the House passed that same budget, which was about 955 billion naira. We had raised observations on certain provisions. For the House of Assembly, where we have seen the Guardian spotlight 100 billion, a million. Yeah. It was not broken down in the budget we were given. I think what we have for the House of Assembly in the budget was about 7 billion. And I remember the NLC chairman, when he spoke, he drew the Speaker's attention to the dilapidated state of the House of Assembly complex itself. There was 7 billion naira allocated to the House of Assembly. They should be able to do something about it, because even the roof of the, where we use the old chapel that has been used for public hearing, the roof have caved in. Generally, the outlook of that place looks like a place that has not been habited. The Speaker raised that. The NLC chairman, Comrade Sonny James, raised that, which we also agree with him. And the Speaker said the Governor had inspected the place, and there was actually plans to renovate the House of Assembly. So when you look at 7 billion for 26 members and some staff that are there, that's a fabulous sum. So now that the budget has been broken down, to that extent shows that those people talking, they are talking from a position of knowledge because they have the details. And it will be very difficult for one to want to compare that because I am investigating something. I understand that vehicles had been given to the House of Assembly members.
Before this time?
Before this time. I'm still investigating, I'm not sure. And then if vehicles were given, how come we're having that amount of budget, 1 billion, for another set of vehicles for the same members? The Speaker is supposed to have had a vehicle, but if he has not, so I don't want to speak too much on the issue of the budget for the vehicles. But making the comparison as was done is very healthy because we raised very strong reservations about the budgetary provisions. For instance, the education sector. Guardian mentioned how much was given to State Secondary Education Board, but generally speaking, we raised serious observation, and I want to just see if I can take that from, let me start from even one of the offices that we raised issues about, which had to be with the Accountant General's office, which was given 57.085 billion, and then as capital, and then recurrent at 3 billion, making a total budgetary provision of 60.08 billion. And the questions we raised were, what are the activities there? And then the entire budget for the education sector is 60.088 billion. That is about the same with the budget of the Accountant General's office. And that budget in the education sector, capital budget for Akwa Ibom State University, for Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, which other one again? All the tertiary institutions under Ministry of Education, they had zero capital budget, which means no project will be done. All they had happens to have been just recurrent. For instance, the recurring expenditure for Ministry of Education was 6.270 billion, with the capital expenditure of 14.1 billion, making a total of 20.370 billion. Secondary Education Board, recurring expenditure is 19.868 billion, capital expenditure 100 million, as was quoted by that Guardian. That makes it a total of 19.968 billion. State Universal Education Board, recurring expenditure 2.484 billion, and capital just 200 billion. Technical Education Board, 1.658 billion, capital 200 million. Special Education Center, only recurring expenditure 25 million. French Language Center, 14.8 million. College of Education of Nursing Sciences, 611.74 billion. No capital. Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, 3.348 billion. College of Science and Technology, 1.376 billion. Akwa Ibom State College of Education, 2.630 billion. Akwa Ibom State Agency for Adult and Non-Formal Education, 94.74 million. Akwa Ibom Library, State Library Board, 61.613 million. Akwa Ibom State Teachers Registration Council, 8.6 million. All of them. There is no single capital budget provision.
According to the breakdown there,
yes.
You have, is there capital expenditure for Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development?
Yes, I will have to check that up. But what I'm trying to say here is that there was the defense that was put up by the then Commissioner for Economic Development, and that is to the effect that the 14 billion capital budget of the Ministry of Education that will be used to augment, to make up for the zero capital provision for all the tertiary institutions in the state. And we took exception to that because it shows that even the budget as presented was not ready to be presented. You couldn't have left zero capital budgetary provision and then to assume that just call it paltry 14 billion will be able to take care of the education sector. Absolutely impossible. And it is very likely going to play out, and it would not be the best for Akwa Ibom State to have that sector in which a state of emergency was declared under the Udo Emmanuel administration after it received the education think tank report, which was Akwa Ibom State Strategic Education Roadmap that was put together by the think tank headed by distinguished Professor Hilarion, which roadmap was even, the state of emergency after being declared was almost automatically abandoned. And that report, we are still appealing to His Excellency to call for that report and implement. Because if that report was implemented, the kind of budget for the education sector would never have been, because the clear needs will have been seen, and before you know it, it will have been something that we said, yes, our focus is to make education a vocal point, and then the budget won't be something that, like a NLC chairman also rightly pointed out, he said, there are projects and programs that the Akwa Ibom State University are supposed to embark upon. Where would they have funds to do that if nothing was given? So much questions. In the budget directly, still under the, what subject is this? This is the recurrent. We talked about the Akwa Ibom Water Corporation, from what I'm having here in the budget the document that was given. The total expenditure was 754.8 million. I will look out for that of agriculture and let us know.
I'm actually asking on that agriculture because the breakdown from The Guardian, it says that no capital expenditure was budgeted for the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And I just want to ask, what are the potential consequences for food security and rural livelihoods in the state? Because when we're talking about food, everybody go back to your farm, everybody go back to the farm and all of that. But then it cannot be just the people's efforts. The government has to come in. So with no capital expenditure, what does this portend for food security in the state?
It's something of concern, and why it should be really of concern too is that some of the media aides to the governor, they talk about agriculture because in their RISE agenda, the letter A is said to represent agriculture, and to some persons it means where the alphabet stand. That is how the importance that is being placed, which is not correct, because the capital budget for agriculture here, I've seen Agricultural Loans Board, they have zero. Agricultural Development Program, they have zero budget provision. Let me look out for any other thing about agriculture. Akwa Ibom State Integrated Farmers Scheme, there is zero budgetary provision here. I guess it may likely be zero all through. The bottom line is that when you hear people talk about there's agricultural revolution going on, massive farming, very massive, Even yesterday, I saw one of such, and I've seen one of the aides to the governor do a documentary where he gets pictures of tractors from some other state and gets pictures from online from other farms and put it up, and just to make sure that his office has done something.
How are you certain that it's from another state citizen?
It is obvious because How is because we are on ground, and some of these pictures we've seen them elsewhere, and if you do fact checking, you will see it. And because it's not something that somebody has gone to a farm to stand there to show, yeah, I am at. For instance, we have a model farm at Ikoridibun, which His Excellency is using as a pilot scheme. Unfortunately, almost every administration tries to do that. We cannot be doing pilot scheme in agriculture. Every administration, like under the manual administration, we had the greenhouse at the airport road, just close to the airport, which became almost the greatest thing happening in the States. And for those that knew, they knew that that was just for photo shoot. Not much was going on there until the place collapsed because it wasn't even really meant to survive. It's not that kind of idea, or not that kind of photo shoot showing that you bring into agriculture. What you do in agriculture is to be mechanized farming, and if it's to be integrated farming, you must be such that you are sure that you are going to produce things that will be in line with your comparative advantage. Our parents have been planting from we were born to see our great-grandparents as farmers, and we grew up to be farmers, where we used to actually go to farm. I used to go to farm with my parents. Sometimes when you come back from school, the food would not be there in the house for you to eat, because you will have been told, when you come back from school, come to the farm. They will name where the farm is, because farm locations had names, you see. Come to Riomong, and come to this and that, and when you go, your lunch was there for you to eat, and then you join them in doing farming. But we are having government bring people that they consider as experts to show us how to farm. And it's very expensive. And it would never yield. Why? Because it's limited. It's just like, okay, when you see this, go and replicate elsewhere, but it almost ends up there. So as much as I commend His Excellency for what is going on at the Ikoridibun, which I hope to be there, the only thing I've noticed is the fencing, which I've raised here some time ago. It is cast concrete fence for a farm. I don't know who gave such idea. I don't know if there are farms on planet Earth that uses concrete as the fence for a farm. That cost may be more than what may ever be harvested in that place. So you look at cost implication in doing things, and why are you doing what you're doing is of concern. Then you have a place like Ini with so much vast land, with clear things that can be done. Then you have the blue economy, which was even a campaign mantra for almost all the candidates, both aspirants and even candidates who are going to the blue economy, because those are where we have strength. Then you have the palm fruit sector, you understand, where it is we have that. That is our domain. That's our constituency. But we are not doing much in that area, So if we are not controlling the fish, the crayfish that comes out of our waters, we don't even have much of even to help the foreigners who are mostly the ones giving our people farm implements, fishing tools to work with. We couldn't even tap from there. Our people didn't even have the financial capacity. So it's beyond that, there's capital budget or there's no capital budget. The reality is that the budget itself, like we raised issues, the budget should have been tinkered. Where you're putting money into palliative, for instance, like the Bulk Purchase Agency, I think their entire budget is close to over 13 point something billion. You go to the capital, you go to the recurrent, and you wonder what can be achieved with that for an agency that was supposed to be a temporary agency. How temporary is temporary? Is 2 years not more than enough for a temporary agency in a 4-year tenure of a government? Even as much as people want to believe that 8 years is automatic, yes, it's possible. After all, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, yes, but you do not plan for 8 years. You plan based on the term.
I mean, anything can happen.
No, you don't mean yes, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yes, but if you are planning to succeed, some people plan to fail. Yes, and it is obvious there are places that people plan to fail. But the funniest thing is that those that will tell leaders this way will lead us to doom, they are considered as anti-government. And the praise singers, like those that say there's agricultural revolution going on in Akwa Ibom State, almost all the gari that we consume come from outside the state and from local farmers like us. And I want to say this by the grace of God, at least for the last about 4 months or so, we've not bought gari or fufu in the house because we actually went into farming. Whatever little land we had to plant.
Are you a beneficiary today on the rewards?
No.
Okay.
I didn't contest. When we get to that, we'll talk more.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So imagine a family not being able to buy gari for at least 3 to 4 months. Not buy fufu. You understand? That's a big plus. But has that reduced the amount of fufu and gari coming from outside of the state? It has not. So if there is no particular area where farmers outside the state will say, oh, we don't have customers again, though, because in Akwa Ibom State that used to come, they were our biggest buyers. They no longer come because their gari farm, cassava farm, and gari processing mills that we had were here and there, yes, are producing. Yes, they are here and there, but they are not producing. Like the rice factory in Ini that was so touted, and we heard things even while that was going on. We saw the Dakada family rice, whatever it was called. One bag was taken to the exco and presented by the Committee on Food Sufficiency and whatever, and it all ended there. You don't see it in the market, you don't see it in any shop. The traders don't trade on it because it's not there. But you had people who were too loud and, in fact, loud and lousy about the achievements that were just make-believe. So it is a thing of concern that we must be able to look at every aspect of our state life on what is on ground, not what some persons who I may call apprentice magicians will want you to believe.
All right.
They try to do magic, but they're not doing it. They say, have you not seen what I have done? And they want you to say, yes, I've seen, and they'll be very happy. Mm-hmm. So it's a thing of concern because there's no way that at the end of the day we'll look back and say, yeah, we have achieved a lot. What the governor sought to achieve, he has achieved. It would never be if we don't do correctly.
I'm just wondering, since given that 64% of the households in Akwa Ibom State actually lack access to clean drinking water, and 70% lack proper sanitation. I'm just wondering how the government can justify allocating only 100 million naira to the Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, while significantly more is spent on lawmakers' vehicles. This is going to be my last question on this particular topic before we move to the happy hour, and that's why I want to take this WhatsApp message also. Tim Scott in Rio is saying that from observation from inception of the Umoina administration, it has a tendency of embarking on projects and programs that are not sustainable. It likes too much of sprinkling money around, maybe because his predecessor was accused of being elitist. Up till this time, pensioners are not paid for January, putting them through untold hardship, while payments of gratuities have been shelved for getting to 6 months now. This is coming from Tim Scott in Uyo. I'd just like a response to this before we go into the happy hour.
Response to the comment by that one can be a bit explained, though it may not be a reason, but it's an excuse. The staff verification that was carried out, government actually said they will pay while the verification was going on, and the governor later said, no, that will not work. We must be able to be sure of those that we are paying. And Labour, who had earlier threatened they had to pipe down because the governor himself was not even smiling. He told them, look, you want to go on strike, so one day I will allow you to go on strike. He said that work will still go on and all of that. So I don't think they have been able to come to terms with the putting things in place for those that are being cleared to receive their salaries. And that is not the fault of the governor. because if he's standing by his word, that action should have been taken. But somebody said something to me yesterday when the person was lamenting that they have not gotten salaries. Another person called on radio, a number of persons called and said that they are not going to be paid until the final verification is done. And the person went ahead to tell me that some persons who had some issues, they have been given dates. Some will go on the 10th, some will go on the 20-something of this month, which means if truly everything is going to be cleared, that means it's going to be about March that people will be paid. I don't believe His Excellency will allow that. I don't believe that. I just don't want to believe that, because the hardship in the land is beyond what anybody who has entitlement will be deprived of it, because people's lives depends on their lifelines. And those that don't have lifelines, people beg. People are starving. But all this is happening in the midst of where very few persons are so wealthy, I don't know if to call it wealth, have so much more than what they will ever need throughout their lifetimes, even the generations of their offsprings. It is a misnomer, which something needs to be done drastically, because money has not been allowed to circulate among people. Money is in the hands of very few persons, and those are none other than those that are privileged to be in government. That's why everybody wants to be in government. Religious leaders, they want appointment. You heard what the governor said. We prayed you in, you've not given us appointment, you've not given us contract, we're going to pray you out. And I challenged them that it's God that made him governor, not you. People in the traditional institution, they have to play along with the government, even though they are in government already, but they haven't been in government is different, because they are next, in fact, they are supposed to be next to God. They are natural rulers. They don't have tenure. But you find some of them behave in the way that shows that their life depends on applauding government whatever they do. Instead of giving counsel as royal fathers, they just have to applaud everything so that you are not marked down. And that is the consciousness the attack dogs and even some of those in power have given. You must support us. You must say yes to anything. Otherwise, you are against us. And once you are against government, you'll go hungry and all of that. So for people like us that we have our calling, we are to help government, whatever government it is, and whosoever, to be able to serve as a situation room, a think tank. And you can bear witness, that's what we are doing. And that's what we keep doing the rest of our lives. And for those that are oppressed, we say, no, you don't have to oppress people, because they are entitled to their lives. The issue of not sufficient funding for water, provision of water, it is an indictment. It's not the first time. The water project in this state, just like the palm produce project, the aqua palm, that is now Dakada oil palm, they were World Bank projects too. Maybe you're not aware of this. The World Bank did so much to make sure there were water stations, the piping, the everything, just like the aqua palm was done, until they were sure everything was set, and then they handed over, and our people ran it aground. One of the best places to have worked was then aqua palm. Water board was so busy everywhere, even down to Cross River State. But how come there's no water? There's no public water running. It is an indictment. And if you even go to the water, is it water board they call it? And the place looks like nothing is happening there. But you have professional hands there who, if given the required funding, they will do wonders. I handled a case of somebody in Austria who tried to draw attention to his community, and they reached out to me. And by the time we finished talking, he wrote to the international body, and they told him, you don't have a water policy. And the man talked with me. I had the opportunity of even meeting the chairman of, is it the MD of the water company, and we talked. and I got to know that there was planning the offering for a water policy. We are unable to assess the kind of funding that the state requires because we lack water policy. Now that we have water policy, some persons in the sector may not be encouraged enough to be able to explore what opportunities are there. World Bank and other bodies that they give grants, you know, where we can get some of these things done at with almost very limited counterpart funding until we prioritize every area. Unfortunately, the areas that are prioritized has to do with palliative, have to do with political mobilizations, and it is not healthy. One thing that we must all know is that those in government, they are meant to be seen and not heard.
Right.
So even if they are suffering there and they raise memo, they are limited in pushing even the memos that should be something of urgency. So how do you address that? They have to address it. It's for the civil society, for people like us, which is what we do every week. We do every day to see what area needs attention. We amplify it because the civil servant, the media aides, the appointees, even commissioners would never be able to raise their voice to say, Your Excellency, this side we should do it because if you don't do it, it's going to affect the people. No, they wouldn't do it because the Napoleon is always right mentality is what they have believed.
Okay.
That the guy is always right. You don't ever bring any idea because whatever our guy says, it goes. So that is why we are where we are, that very critical sectors have zero budget provisions, and while others that do not provide no link to people have more money than they can ever be able to defend when the day of accountability comes.
Thank you very much, Citizen.
My pleasure.
With 22 minutes left, I would like to open the phone lines now, but let's just go into the second topic and let's hear your thoughts. Now, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Moiro, is set to host an electrifying Arise Happy Hour, an evening of rewards, a night of music, recognition, and celebration, featuring a special live performance by Flavor. Now, the event will feature the disbursement of 300 million naira to 400 trained female youths and ladies in white under the IBOM-led Entrepreneurship Accelerator Program, with each beneficiary receiving 750,000 naira, a recognition and award to the best performing local government areas from Christmas Unplugged 2024, and 50 winners of the Arise Home Farmer Scheme, each receiving a 500,000 naira grant. This is to happen today, by the way. And I'd just like to get your thoughts on this. Specifically now, beyond the financial disbursement and the recognitions, what mechanisms are in place to actually track the impact of the IBOM-led Entrepreneurship Accelerator Program on the beneficiaries and the broader economy of the Akwa Ibom State?
Beautiful way to put it. No better way than how you've stated it before. I answered that. I want to say something about the Arise or the Happy Hour initiative. Recall that during the campaign, His Excellency made that pronouncement, and I watched it, and instantly that he made the pronouncement about how Happy Hour will be celebrated in Akwa Ibom State. A number of persons cheered. They celebrated it. I was moody because His Excellency was explicit that the Happy Hour will involve on weekends, on Fridays. You go to drinking spots. If a drink is 200 naira, you only pay 50 naira, and government will subsidize by 150 naira. And I said, it's absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. Considering even the time that was said, the hardship, the oil, the subsidy, in fact, it was almost impossible. So I just said to myself, well, we are all entitled to mistakes, and it has to be corrected. And I thought you will have 8 around that will think fast and say, Your Excellency, this policy or this initiative will have to be tinkered, and then we'll come up with this. But that was never to be. I personally challenged a number of on radio until Open Forum. We said this is how we need to celebrate the happy hour. How do we celebrate the happy hour? We came on board Airtime here on Memories FM, and those people that are oppressed, those people that are vulnerable, we make their voice to be heard. And for merely allowing people that are unheard of to be heard, that is their happy hour. And we have people bring their needs, and we see how to meet their needs by linking them to where they can get solution. That is their happy hour. So that has been what we've been doing, I think, since October. And it is still ongoing. We are on the second quarter of it. And I had also believed that some persons will do some things to show this is how happy hour should be celebrated. But that was never to be. So hearing this very development, that this happy hour, in fact, even the media age who never ever commented, who never even understood how to go about it, they are the one projecting it now. They call it Arise Happy Hour, and people are going to be rewarded. The civil service, different departments, well, the modalities, how they were chosen, government knows better. The local government areas that did well during the, what do you call it now, Christmas, they call it Christmas Unplugged, they are going to be rewarded too. Akwa Ibom has been made a place of so much celebrations, so much is being spent. We saw a report some time ago that about over $1 billion has been spent on entertainment, drinks, and all of that because of events here and there. That's a lot of money, and more is also still happening. I'm not against empowerment. I am pro-empowerment, and we've had a program here where we brought in a banker to speak on how to make these empowerments sustainable, which is what you raised. It is absolutely impossible to track the success of the enormous empowerment programs the government has done. Why? Because some of them, the funds that are given, is grossly inadequate to be called empowerment or business grants for that level of people. Number one of them is the those whose names are gotten from the Arise Employment Portal, which is still very skewed, which has also disenfranchised most Akwa Ibom people who are looking for employment because of the requirement for voter identification number. I will not stop talking about this because at the end of the day, it is going to be something that will say, why did we even allow that to have happened? It's too political. When you want to solve a problem, you don't bring in political interest. Yes, if you want to give political appointment, somebody must have to come with his party card. Somebody must have to come with his voter's card for you to know that, yes, this person is actually in the business, but not people looking for employment, people that are schooled outside the Akwa Ibom State where the training was done, and that is still being sustained and defended, even on one of the WhatsApp platforms that just created recently. Even the aides with the governor was defending it, and I was forced to comment. I said, nobody does this. It's not done anywhere in the world. Federal government cannot even do this. You know? So, it is an area that something has to be done. The solution we have proffered in open forum is that giving monies randomly to people that are not trained, those monies may never be useful to them. Giving monies that are not adequate for a program, like the 50,000 given to graduates. I cited the case of one of the beneficiaries and another one, even on social media, that said, what do I do with this? The other one said, I just used to buy rice and chicken for the Christmas. That's what it's meant for. Am I supposed to sell pure water on my head? What do I do with 50,000? Am I supposed to, what am I to hawk? Is it granite? So you can call it livelihood support, yes. But what is our greatest recommendation on how to be sure that all these billions being put in, that we can go back and check and see progress and give them more money or whatever? You make some of these monies interest-free loans. Pass these monies through dedicated banks, Aqua Savings, Ibom Fadama, or any other national bank that you want to adopt. Or you create a special bank to eliminate poverty or reduce poverty, where beneficiaries would have their data, where those that are accessing grants will access from there, their records will be there, so that the next batch of people to benefit will be identified that it's not the same people. Sharon, I tell you, there are people that have received some of these things, goodies from His Excellency Pastor Omo Obaseno, who is very people friendly so far. Some of them have received twice or thrice.
You know them?
Not a matter of knowing them. Are you not in the system? If you talk with people, if you know, live in an environment and you know how these things work, you will even ask that. Yes, it's like the social register. I did a documentary of a young boy of 9 years old who would drift from school to pick things from refuse dump to eat and feed his own 6-year-old brother to be able to send that one to school. Went to their compound, saw where another person, who's also a scavenger, is giving them a place to sleep. And in that premises, there's an 80-year-old woman. Nobody in that premises has been registered in social register. Very needy people. So, is that you keep on expanding the social register to be sure, yes, at least that one you can verify. Otherwise, please, set aside banks or a bank. Let people go there, register to benefit from whatever is given. And no money should be given for business if there is no orientation, no training. Like the white or purple girls, like you've read there. White, yeah. Who are they? They are cheerleaders, people who were on the campaign. All of them are PDP members. It happened under the Udom Emmanuel administration. The purple girls that they handed over to this administration and other ones. Remember, Iniobong Umoren was one of them. She was unemployed, an orphan, and a graduate. She eventually fell into the trap of a beast somewhere who raped and killed her. And what did we have? Fanfare. They erected the podium, decorated it to address Iniobong Umoren's issue. People made money from there. And that became the end of the story. That particular batch of cheerleaders never got anything from the person they worked for. Moino is doing things differently, yes. I'm happy he is also training them from what I've heard that have been trained. That is the kind of thing. But this money is not some money you'll be handing over by hand to them. Pass it through the bank and let these monies, let the bank follow up what they are doing, because eventually this money is supposed to recreate itself. If it's a interest-free loan, part of it is a grant, you'll be able to recover part. If you keep on putting, we'll end up putting 100 billion into this palliative arrangement and there will be no outcome. No result.
Citizen, thank you very much. Let's open the phone lines now to hear from the listener. 0803 085 7755, 0803 085 7755, or 0809 066 6909, 0809 066 6909. Our WhatsApp number is 0809 066 6909. We're streaming live on Facebook. The handle is Memories 965 FM. Hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome. Good morning to you, Ambrose. All right, talk to us.
Because I feel they don't get the right government from this group that the people deserve. They don't want to be able to what our state government has done. Like Dr. said, if you go to the bank who are on time, starting to get that. There's one doctor doing that people are going to do right now in this place.
All right.
Don't continue to do this.
Thank you very much.
No one that has done our not to our life. And those people that everybody are rejoicing, everybody are happy. Even if it does not come to me, but I know it will come to me or it will come to my brother or my sister.
All right.
Governor, thank you so much. You have done so much.
Thank you very much, Ambrose. Thank you very much. Okay, so keep the calls coming in 0803 085 7755 or 0809 066 6909. Utrecht Carrier on Facebook is saying, Governor is right to give money to Akwa Ibom citizens. Though not refined, we believe over the years it will be rejigged to better the lives of Akwa Ibomites. On WhatsApp, we still have a message from Tim Scott. For a governor that claims to be compassionate, wouldn't he direct payment of pensioners and on old rates before verification that has not even taken place? Verification has, just that it is not complete. A lot of the pensioners will be no more for the increased pension. It is almost substantiating earlier fears that minimum wage will be paid in March. Let's take some more calls. Hello, good morning.
Morning, my name is Abatuma, and I am
Good morning to you, welcome.
happy. It is not correct. He says everybody are happy. Most people are sit down. Not everybody that is happy. Let that the government play a make people go and work. There are so many people that are looking for food to eat.
Okay, thank you very much. Saying that people are not as happy as the first caller mentioned. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning, doctor.
I'm not doctor, I'm citizen Okono.
Oh, sorry. My name is Liza. You have spoken well for us.
Thank
I want you to keep on doing this so that if our leaders will say, because we are suffering in Nigeria, that's the thing. Let's the right thing. We don't have the right thing because people are complaining. People are dying of so much and everything. Please, let's governor do something about it. Oh, getting out of hand. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, citizen.
Yes.
We have to wrap up now, so let's hear your comments.
Yeah.
Can we take one more call? One last call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. You have 30 seconds, please.
Yes, my name is Amanda. I'm calling from the school.
All right, talk to us.
I'm not against the policy doing by the present government.
Mm.
But if you get a chance, at least one company, to enjoy people, the people of a private state. If somebody that set up the capital, we will go down and see the number of programs that work there. That will benefit for that very company, for the number of states. This one is to not solve the problem of a private state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Yeah, this is our last call.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. If you're ready to spring.
All right, talk to us. 30 seconds.
Please, I want to ask him to please drop a photo of a pattern where someone can follow you to the. I want to follow you. You so much. There are so many people that you that want to follow you. Please just drop a link on how can follow you. How can
All right,
Yeah.
you'll drop it. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I think I'm becoming a politician. Hello, good morning. I can hear myself. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Welcome. 30 seconds.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please, I want to thank you so much for what you've done for us. My name is President of
All right, talk to us.
Okay.
Talk to us.
So I want to thank you so much for what you're doing today. I want to thank you to join to follow you for what I'm doing so far. I thank Pastor Michael so much for what he's done for us. What he's doing for what he's doing so far. I thank you so much because you have the heart of the heart of God, not the heart of the country. You have the heart of the game with the common table. So I thank you so much. And what I said so far is for giving and praying. It's because there's some people that cannot even give, don't want to pay on that money they pay.
Okay.
The better is giving 3 or 4.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I really like what I've done so far. I go
Amen.
so much for what you've done so far for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, citizen, a minute.
Yeah, in a minute, first of all, I want to thank all the callers. What I want to say, our brother that says everybody is enjoying, everybody is happy. It is a very, yeah,
Today is happy hour.
it's a happy hour, good, yes, but it's a wrong notion. The suffering in the land is unprecedented. You have to be real, and our governor is doing the best that he can. He needs our support. I am not a sycophant. I will never be. And for the happy hour, which we even had started and we had encouraged others to do, we say, Governor, thank you. And there are those who have cases that money will never solve. What they need is a listening ear. Please, Your Excellency, set up a Truth and Reconciliation Committee in Akwa Ibom State. That will be a number of persons happy hour.
Okay.
And two, for those who want to be part of what we do, I always give our phone number. We run open forum, it's for everybody. You can take my number wherever you are, 0802 757 7497. I take that again, 0802 757 7497.
Correct.
We have different platforms you get to know, but the most important thing is that we are for nation building, and we have to speak for the voiceless and vulnerable, which even includes our leaders who are also vulnerable.
Thank you very much, Citizen. We have
My
to
pleasure.
go now. We have another interview at 11. Thank you very much, Citizen Mark Ikufi-Okono.
My pleasure.
This
Thank
has
you.
definitely been a really packed conversation. Thank you very much.
You are good at your job.
Thank you very much. All right, so...
Hold up.